It's time for Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero. When it comes to news on 95.1 FM, weather always comes first. There's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms over parts of the upper and middle Mississippi Valley into the Great Lakes, and a slight risk of excessive rainfall over parts of the middle Mississippi Valley into the Great Lakes as well. Dangerous and record-breaking heat continue to build across the Central Plains, Mid-Atlantic, and Southeast. Closer to home, we're going to remain very warm with just a slight chance for storms. Moisture will be on the increase tomorrow with good chances for storms on Wednesday and Thursday. For the end of the week into the weekend, our high temperatures will run a few degrees below average with a continued chance for rain. We'll have another look at the weather following this news. The Tularosa Basin Dispatch received a 911 call from Ruidoso. The caller said he shot a female in his driveway. Upon arrival, police officers found 66-year-old Robert Walker standing on his front porch. Once commands were given to Walker, he was peacefully taken into custody. Officers then found the lifeless body of 55-year-old Zeba Lynette Morris French in the driveway. Walker has been charged with murder in the first degree, tampering with evidence, negligent use of a deadly weapon, and possession of a controlled substance. 45-year-old Michael Shriver has been arrested for alleged negligent arson after a motel fire displaced 15 residents in Alamogordo last month. Shriver was doing plumbing repairs at the Budget Inn before the ignition of that fire on Friday, June 14th. Shriver did not call 911. Instead, he fled the motel. The AFD Fire Investigations Unit, Alamogordo Code Enforcement Division, the New Mexico State Fire Marshal's Investigation Division, and the Alamogordo Police Detectives Division conducted a joint investigation into the origin and cause of that fire. This past Wednesday, an arrest warrant was issued for Shriver for one count of negligent arson as a fourth-degree felony. Shriver was contacted by Alamogordo Police Department and transported to the Otero County Detention Center, where he awaits his first court appearance. Additional assistance is headed to the recently battered area of Ruidoso, which has been plagued by severe weather events for nearly a month. This past Friday, U.S. President Joe Biden authorized an amendment to the major disaster declaration he had issued for New Mexico, paving the way for additional disaster assistance in Ruidoso, which has seen 2 wildfires and flooding since June 17th. The amendment adds public assistance federal funding for roads and bridges, water control facilities, public buildings and contents, public utilities, as well as parks, recreational, and other facilities. Meanwhile, the amendment also adds federal funding for newly flooded areas in Rio Arriba and San Juan counties. People in all affected areas can still apply for FEMA assistance.
We're encouraging everyone who's been affected by these disasters to reach out and register with FEMA to make sure that you have access to those tax dollars that are here to help you start your recovery. Regardless of what you may have heard in the past, whatever rumors there may be, this is a new disaster, and these are new needs that people have, and we want to make sure that people have the dollar they need to recover.
Roberto Baldonado, an external affairs officer for FEMA, speaking with KOB, he says the deadline to file a claim is August 20th.
We are working in close coordination with the state and local authorities to determine additional needs, and that includes the possibility of extending a deadline if need arises.
FEMA.gov for details. White Sands National Park monthly visitation report for the month of June shows June visitation at 56,490, which is a 17% decrease from last year. Year-to-date visitation, 391,000, which is a 3% decrease from last year. 18 on-site interpretive programs were given to 753 visitors. 4,440 visitors watched the orientation video, and staff swore in 731 new junior rangers. The Republican Party of Otero County presents Ruidoso Mayor Lynn Crawford for a community update next Thursday, July 25th at 6 p.m. at their new Republican headquarters located inside White Sands Mall. The annual Alamogordo Back-to-School Block Party is slated for July 26th from 4 until 7. That's at 805 12th Street, right across from the post office. Fourth Friday is also happening on July 26th. Live music from Rockabilly Strangers at Washington Park from 6 until 10. Admission is free. Alcohol is prohibited. Well, today's Monday. That means we get a update from Animal Village NM.
Hi, this is Sunny Yaris with Animal Village NM, and this is your pup date for the week. So, through the generosity of so many people and organizations who have donated pet food to our Pet Food Bank program since the fires and during the floods, we are now, believe it or not, for the first time, fully stocked for a year for our pet food bank program, which of course we deliver pet food every month and as needed to Love Inc. right there by Lowe's Market in Alamogordo, and also to the Lincoln County Food Bank across from the Willie Horton Center. So we keep them stocked with pet food for folks who are struggling to feed their families and their pets when things get tough. We've been doing that since 2007, and now we're stocked up for a year for the first time since 2007. However, our spay and neuter program is just breaking my heart because we had to suspend because the grant expected from the state of New Mexico Veterinary Board, none of them came through for any of us, including individuals who had made applications and actually got letters of approval saying, hey, take this voucher to your vet and you can get your pet spayed or neutered. So there's a huge backlog in Otero County, all over New Mexico, of pets who are being allowed to breed because they're in the same room, they're in the same yard, whatever. And so untold numbers of litters have been born and continue to be born. We need your help financially, even if it's going without your Starbucks. I mean, that's like $6-7 a day, right? In fact, I went to a class and they said that it would pay off a small mortgage over 50 years. Anyway, if you could skip the Starbucks and help us spay neuter, just make a donation, become a monthly sponsor, even if it's your Starbucks once a month or two. That'd be $15 a month. We can use it. It doesn't sound like a lot to you, but it's 1/3 of what we pay after the guardians pay their copay to get a dog or a cat spayed or neutered and make your community safer and healthier without all those litters running around. So there's one more way. Maybe you're broke. Maybe you're out of a job. If you're in Lincoln County, you're probably hurting. So one thing all of us have is extra shoes. We've got shoes in our closets that we haven't worn, that don't fit, that we don't like anymore. Donate those. There are shoe collection boxes at the White Sands Mall and every single First Savings Bank in Lincoln or Otero County. Please help us. Shoes, money, animalvillagenm.org. Animalvillagenm.org.
News from around the state in just a moment. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
Local news from local perspectives, from local voices. AlamogordoTownNews.org. Local sports, local events, and local happenings and more. Nonprofit owned and operated by Second Life Media. We are Otero County. AlamogordoTownNews.org. Heard daily on Crazy KALH Radio 95.1.
Directory Plus is the right size book. It's the book if you need a phone book.
That's what just one person has to say about Directory Plus. With its red cover, features, colorful yellow pages, and lots more, it's no wonder people all over use Directory Plus.
It has so much more information. You can cross-check phone numbers or addresses or pretty much anything.
Look on the plus side, Directory Plus.
I'm a big fan of Directory Plus.
We haven't seen the kind of surges outside of the ports of entry that folks in other states have seen. Now, that's not to indicate at all that doesn't still have some risk. But we haven't seen heat-related issues for asylum seekers, certainly not in this first 6 months.
Donna Ana County Sheriff Kim Stewart states that there has been a big jump in illegal migrant deaths in unincorporated areas of her county.
From January 1, 2024 to now, we've had 43 deaths that we are investigating.
Stewart speaking with KRWG.
Last year, we had nearly 100. The year before and the years preceding that, they were 10 or below. So we went from 10 or below last year to 100 to this year. We're probably on track to be in the 80 to 100 area. Again, unfortunately.
She went on to say that many times the people smuggled in are being moved by the cartel, and as a result, they are malnourished, dehydrated, abused, or worse. Every body extracted from the desert is treated as a homicide until foul play can be ruled out. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham is doubling down on her call for a special session next week, focusing on public safety and crime, amid calls from dozens of groups to call it off.
Special sessions are always uniquely challenging, right? That's why they're called special session.
I don't think that's why they're called that, actually.
I don't believe there's a legislator who will not say, we have a public safety crisis in the state.
In order to tackle these rising concerns, the governor's proposing a few bills, and the special session is only slated for 2 days. But the governor says she's not opposed to extending it to get these bills across the finish line. Yet she condones the border to remain unsecured, which permitted 21-year-old Jesus Sandoval Martinez into the U.S. illegally, specifically into New Mexico, and he was involved in a deadly DWI hit-and-run that killed 22-year-old Tiger Gutierrez. Sandoval Martinez has been charged with 2 counts of vehicular homicide, reckless driving, and leaving an accident resulting in great bodily harm or death.
We've talked about the attacks across the country, the 12-year-old girl, I think in Houston, the jogger in Georgia, but now it's in our own state, and it's going to be even worse. So the Immigration Service said that they have processed 84,000 people who came illegally with no documentation just in June alone. And a certain number of those were convicted felons or were felons in their home country where they're coming from, knowing that the justice system in the U.S. is not really putting people in jail right now, that people feel like they can do almost anything.
Steve Pierce from his podcast last week. So this danger is real and growing.
I want New Mexicans to be safer.
Is it all New Mexicans, or are you going to continue to simply pick and choose? It was a highly emotional day inside the Santa Fe County Courthouse for Alec Baldwin on Friday. Just 3 days into his trial, Judge Mary Marlowe Summer granted his team's motion to dismiss.
The state's discovery violation has injected a needless, incurable delay into the instant jury trial. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice. Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
And that means there's effectively no path forward for prosecutors to refile charges against Baldwin, and thus the anti-gun activist has effectively got away with murder. In the past few years, new tools like the grappler have emerged to make police pursuits safer. Now, one southeastern New Mexico sheriff's office is trying it out.
We recently obtained the grappler, which is another method in stopping vehicle pursuits.
Chaves County Sheriff's Office Undersheriff Charles Eastless speaking with KOB.
The way it works is you still have to come up and almost make contact with the back of their vehicle. But in doing so, the grappler goes in, it grabs the tire, and at that time, essentially, it just wraps up around the tire its web material and locks up that back tire.
Eastless says in the past they would use a pit maneuver, which is when a deputy uses his vehicle to move the suspect's car over and try to get them to spin out to a stop. But this new tool is supposed to be safer, not just for the deputy, but also the suspect. Eastless says the funding for the grappler came from Chaves County commissioners. State police have 10 of them to distribute across the state. The goal is to have one for each deputy. Weather's next. You're listening to Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
Hi, Sunny Harris with Animal Village NM. We all know that most pets are terrified during evacuations. So please keep your pets safe inside your home so they don't escape. Don't let your dog or cat be one of millions who will escape in fear and end up dead or in animal control facilities during fire season, which will quickly overflow and start euthanizing to make space. Contact your city administration office in advance in case you have to be evacuated. Find out who's taking in families with their pets during fires. Prepare your vehicle with room for your cat and dog crates. Have your blankets, water, food for you and your pets packed, and clothing packed and ready. Have your pet crates ready by the door, and give your pets CBD or other calming medications ahead of time to make it easy to load them and evacuate with them immediately. This is an emergency message from Animal Village NM.
Your Crazy Radio spot on weather forecast for the Tularosa Basin today calls for sunny skies. Mostly clear tonight, winds gusting as high as 14 miles per hour. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a 30% chance for showers and storms. Your high today in the basin, 97. Low tonight of 72. High tomorrow, 96 degrees. In Cloudcroft, sunny skies today with a 20% chance of showers and storms. Winds gusting as high as 15 miles per hour. Mostly clear skies tonight, winds gusting as high as 16. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a 40% chance of showers and storms, winds gusting as high as 15. Your high today in Cloudcroft, 77. Low tonight of 54. High tomorrow, 76 degrees. I was out last week due to a touch of pneumonia. I am recovering, and I do want to thank Keith Raymond for stepping up and covering for me. Local breaking news can be found on our website, alamogordotownnews.org, and you can learn more about Crazy Radio by visiting KALHradio.org. Also, be sure to check out the Crazy KALH Radio YouTube channel. That's where we post our daily newscasts, complete interviews, and other information which concerns everyone in the Tularosa Basin. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel if you've not done so already. That way you too can remain informed of the goings-on in the Tularosa Basin. That concludes today's edition of Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.